Steve, Bill, I want to say hello to the Stagg High School seniors that were just traipsed through the studio. They're from Palos Hills, isn't it?
Yes. Seemed like nice kids.
They did, and we became very parental.
All of a sudden, yeah, we seemed responsible.
I didn't swear.
No, not even one time.
I know.
Was almost disappointed.
Pretty good. All right. Do you remember this alleged, and I'm using the quotation marks, clock boy?
Mm-hmm.
This was a kid who was arrested last year after bringing a homemade clock to school.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought, that's not good. There are wires. They thought it was a bomb, and he was in big trouble for it. Well, now he is in the news because the clock boy's father is filing a lawsuit against Glenn Beck, Ben Shapiro, and we'll find out who else. We have attorney Loretta Powers on the line with us. Hi, Loretta.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, what is your connection with this?
Well, I'm a Dallas-based attorney, and I've been following this case since the exception.
All right, and why don't you retell the story? Did I get the gist of it?
Yeah, I think you covered it perfectly.
We're leaving out, though, Loretta, unless I'm reading it wrong, we're leaving out the added bonus that he's a Muslim teen, and that probably added to him being what the school deems a little bit of a suspect in this, huh?
Right, and he already has sued the school on a previous lawsuit, and now he's suing Glenn Beck. And let's be honest here, the last thing we all want to see is Glenn Beck in a courtroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he would probably like it, of course, but we don't need to see that. Now, with the suit that was filed with the school, was that settled yet?
No, it has not been settled yet. And I find that the timing of this lawsuit is really suspicious. For example, these comments were made about a year ago,
mm-hmm.
and about 5 days before this lawsuit was brought to court. Sorry.
You're driving right now. Well, this is 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed, and his family suffered branding and as political operatives or even terrorists by media outlets like Fox and conservative commentators like we mentioned, Glenn Beck. And they filed this lawsuit, was it yesterday or last week?
It was on the 21st is whenever they filed it. But it was 5 days after Glenn Beck had settled a kind of similar lawsuit. So I don't know if the dad is just using his kid as an ATM machine right now or if this has legal standing. I mean, with a defamation lawsuit, there basically needs to be two things that need to happen for a plaintiff to be successful, and that is false statements and injuries that occurred because of those false statements. Well, we all know that political commentators, they just share their opinions. They're not factual statements.
I'm surprised they don't get sued more for what they say, political pundits.
Because they don't have a legal leg to stand on. No jury is going to award a plaintiff in this case.
Loretta, remind us, because I don't remember, why he had a homemade clock device to begin with. Was this an assignment? Why would he bring this to school to begin with?
No, he was a bright kid, or still is a bright kid. He just assembled things in the garage, and he wanted to show his teacher what he made at home. And it's very impressive. You know, I can't even assemble an IKEA table.
Bill's in that
I know what
group
you mean.
with you.
Believe me, I know what you mean. So he brings this homemade clock to school to show the teacher, and when do things go a little awry? Who sees this and thinks there could be some problem with what he created?
Well, the teacher thinks that it looks like a bomb, but she knows the student. So she's like, you know, keep that in your backpack. That's a very nice clock, Ahmed. And apparently another teacher saw it, and that's whenever she informed the authorities. And the Irving police detained him for an hour before calling his parents. And in Texas, that's perfectly legal to do. You don't have to contact the parents until he's taken into custody.
And he was a 14-year-old kid who was being questioned. God, it goes back to Making a Murderer with Brendan Dassey, who there was no parent present. That's legal in Texas?
Yes, and I think it's wrong. I think if you're being questioned by police, you should absolutely have your parents there or an adult or a guardian. It's just common sense.
All right, and he was arrested and suspended from school for 3 days, which I just find crazy. I mean, at some point, it's wrong of the school to assume that it's a bomb, especially when the first teacher saw it and knows the kid and said, hey, don't show this to anybody, but that's
Sure.
really awesome.
Right.
It's wrong of the school to do that, but don't they come back and say, oh, my God, it's not a bomb. We apologize for assuming that, and you are not suspended.
Well, they always thought it was a hoax bomb, a fake bomb, and that is a crime in itself, to make a device that looks like a bomb in order to scare people. But this kid had no intent to scare anybody. He just wanted to show a teacher a clock he made.
And no history of any problems. No, there's nothing in his background that would make you take a second look at him, right?
There were some school suspensions and some situations with kids, just typical roughhousing with other kids.
Yeah. Was there ever a time, Loretta, that the school thought it was serious enough to call in a bomb squad, any kind of a unit like that? That didn't take place, did it?
No.
No? Okay,
No,
good.
that did not happen.
Good.
Well, then why was the kid suspended? I'm seriously questioning this whole thing. And now what is the father has sued the school, which I think is a good move because he was suspended for 3 days. Doesn't that go on your record? I mean, it's just a bad situation. But what is he now looking for Glenn Beck, from Glenn Beck and Fox News?
He wants a retraction of some of the statements that they made. He thinks that the statements triggered more hatred towards this family.
Did they have to relocate after this became public?
Well, Ahmed, he actually got a scholarship to study in Qatar. So they moved there for a year, but they recently moved back.
I mentioned this earlier, Loretta, the fact that he, Ahmed Mohammed, is a Muslim, that does play into it to some extent, doesn't it?
I think so. Unfortunately, we are at a time of war, and racial profiling does happen, and it's unfortunate, and it's a travesty that it happens in this day and age.
Yeah.
Here's the exact thing, according to the Dallas Morning News, and I'm quoting, the Mohammed family are peaceful Muslims who have been falsely accused of being terrorists and engaging in jihad, that according to the lawsuit. All right, so
what they think.
What happens next then?
What happens next is maybe somebody on this lawsuit will want to settle, because whenever you're sued like this, you have to make two decisions. One, do I take 2 years out of my life plus resources to fight this and win? Or do I settle it quickly, get it out of the way, and get it over with?
Loretta, do you know specifically what either Glenn Beck or Fox, or he also named in the suit as The Blaze, that's Glenn Beck's outlet, do you know specifically what was said that they found so damaging, or is it just in general?
They said that the father had planned this all along.
That the father was behind this?
Muslim rhetoric.
Huh. All right.
And this kid got to go to the White House. Do you remember President Barack Obama invited him to the White House?
Prior.
Yes, I do.
Prior or post?
I think post. Wasn't it after this got in the news?
Yes, because President Obama actually tweeted, "Cool clock on Ed. You should bring it to the White House."
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
All right. Well, so perhaps this is a frivolous lawsuit, and you don't think it really stands a chance at all, do you?
I really don't. I don't think it meets the elements to be successful.
All right. I do think for the school, though, that I'm anxious to see what turns out from that. And what is Ahmed Mohammed up to now?
I think he's living in DFW, going to school.
Good for him. I hope he continues to make clocks. Maybe he can develop a new Apple Watch.
Right.
Right.
That's Dallas Fort Worth, by the way, right? Or did you say DSW? Is that the shoe outlet, or where is he?
Oh, I'd like to work there.
That would be all right,
School
too.
there.
Loretta, thank you. We appreciate it. This is a crazy story. We really appreciate your expertise. Thanks so much.
Thank you all for having me on.
That's Loretta Powers, an attorney commenting on the case of Ahmed Mohammed, 14 years old, accused by his school of bringing in an incendiary device.